Right, this morning we're going to do a demo on stripping metal. Alright, but the first thing we need to think about when we're doing any stripping is, because we're using chemicals, we want to think about the people we use. Okay, so I'm going to take that off. Now, first thing you're going to do is you're going to get a pair of goggles. Okay, these are just standard safety goggles. Your glasses don't work as well, alright, so don't just think, oh, I've got a pair of glasses on. They need to be safety goggles. Give them a wipe, okay, because they've been stored for a bit of a dry. Yeah, it's your eyes, you don't want to be getting that stuff in your eyes. Alright, it's a chemical. So, goggles on, that's the first thing, okay. You put your goggles on before you put your gloves on. Alright, then you get your gloves on. Long sleeves, these are rubber coated gloves, and we use rubber coated gloves with liquid paint remover because anything else it will soak through and burn our skin. That's going to burn our skin if we get it on our skin. Alright, so we've got a few things here. We've just got an old metal kettle. Yeah, this is a metal one. Why do you think we have to put Nitramars, liquid paint remover, in a metal kettle? So it doesn't melt, yeah. It's going to melt plastic, isn't it? So a metal kettle, an old hog hairbrush. Now that's your natural bristle. Why won't we use synthetic? So it'll melt and burn. Yeah, same thing. So natural bristle brush and a kettle. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to pour some of this liquid paint remover into that kettle. This is a water-based version. You get oil-based versions as well. The water-based version is less lethal. It's not going to burn you as much, but you are going to get a burn off it, okay? The oil-based one, it's obviously more fuming, but it's more powerful. But we're only taking off one layer of paint, okay? So we don't need to have super duper powerful stuff. So this is okay. So it's clear, sorry, it's green. It should be clear, it's obviously gone a bit green. And that's it. All right, once you've finished, make sure you get the top back on. Fumes coming off this are quite strong. So you're gonna have to ventilate by putting the extractor on and opening the windows. Okay. Right, I'm all ready to go now. I've got my gloves. If any time you decide you want to take your goggles off, what should you do first, do you think? Take your gloves off, why? Yeah, it'll have that on it. So always gloves and then goggles off, and always goggles on and then gloves on. Right. So what we've got here is we've got the liquid paint remover. Now using this hog hairbrush that is absolutely knackered, but it doesn't matter, we're just going to apply some of the liquid paint remover onto the painted area of this metal. Now this metal is a galvanised, just have a look, it's galvanised steel. Alright, is galvanised steel ferrous or non-ferrous? Non-ferrous. What do you think, Colin? You've got a clue. What do you think, Spencer? Non-ferrous. What makes it non-ferrous? It's steel, remember? What makes it non-ferrous? The rust, no? Iron, you mean? Steel contains iron. So what stops it being ferrous? The coating of galv. Yeah, the coating of galv makes it non-ferrous. If it's non-ferrous, what doesn't it do? Doesn't rust. Yeah. So as you can see with this, I'm just dabbing it on, and I'm just making sure that I'm putting plenty on as well. Okay, like that. So what you've got to do now is you've just got to wait for it to react. Alright, this one's just got mordant solution on, but I'm just going to want to clean it, so I'm just putting a bit of this on. What will happen if you splash this on your face or your skin? it'll burn. Yeah, that's the reason we've got a kettle of water here. Okay, kettle of fresh water. If you happen to get a burn on your hand, on your skin, make sure you get in there and wash it off as soon as you can. Okay, you may get the odd splash sort of on your face, and you'll know if you've got it because it feels like a tingly, sort of like almost like an itch. Yeah, and this is the water-based stuff. The oil-based version, the stronger version, would actually burn. It would be quite harsh. This is the lesser harmful of the two. All right, because it's the lesser harmful, it doesn't work as quick, but we're not worried about that. Okay, so I'm going to go back to it. So gloves on. Does anybody know what this tool's called? Not quite. Never seen one before. No, that's a shave hook. Okay, if you see, it's called a combination shave hook because each side is different. It's got a few combinations. It's good for flat areas, corners, and this bit here, this rounded bit, is good for mouldings. All right, so if you're stripping paint off maybe a panel door with mouldings on, you can get in all the little points and all the angles. Okay, so that's a combination shave hook. Now if you just want to have a look at these two, if you just want to stand up and have a quick look, you'll see here that it's starting to craze. Can you see that there? Yeah. That's it melting paint. So that makes you realise how strong it is, doesn't it? If it got on your skin, it melts paint, and it's melting it here as well. This one here is a water-based paint. These two are oil. It doesn't seem to want to take water-based paint off as easy as oil-based paint. All right. So all you do is you get your shave up and you just scrape down and you just take the paint off like that. If it doesn't come off straight away, leave it a bit longer. Yeah, don't rush it. There's no rush. You have to wait for it to activate. Okay. Now, because there's still some bits left, I can either do one of two things. I can rebrush it like this over the last bits, or I can get the piece of wire wool. Now this is coarse, really coarse wire wool, so again, don't use it with your bare hands. Dip it in to the liquid paint remover like that, and then just use it like a scourer. Okay, and you're just taking all them last bits of paint off like that. Do you do me a favour, Callum? Just in that bin, just down there, it's got a lid on it, it's rags. Could you get me a rag out of there, please? Not too sad. I'll show you what to do with that in a minute. So you're just scouring it, getting rid of all the bits of paint that are left on. Okay. Right, that's clean now. Now, because it's a water-based solution, we can get this in that water there and we can wash it off. Okay, it'll wash off with water. You have two of these if you want. You can have one for your washing, one for just in case. Okay, and then that is stripped. Now you can see the galv, can't you? Yeah? That's as easy it is to strip metal. And obviously I can't emphasise enough how strong it is. Can you smell it? Yeah. So that it's quite fumy. It bends paint, it melts paint, so you don't want to be breathing it in, okay? And you don't want to be getting it on your skin. All right. So when you've done that, the last thing, just wait for it to dry, and then later on we'll do the priming of them. But you're going to do 3 sheets. You're going to do aluminium, steel, and galvanised steel. Okay, so this is your galvanised steel one. Once we've done this one, we'll put it to one side, and then we'll get steel out, strip that, and then we'll get aluminium. What you're then going to do is you're going to split it into sections and put the appropriate primers on each piece of metal. Are there any questions? No. So because I'm finishing, what do I take off first?
Gloves.
Gloves. Always gloves off first, then goggles. But I do want to just point one thing out. These strippings that you bring off can't go into the bin, okay? You've got to have a piece of paper, such as like this, put them on the piece of paper, sort of spread them out, leave them to dry, okay? So you won't need to put them away, I'll put them away. The reason for that is, what do you think?
Still reactive.
Still reacting, yeah. What else did we talk about that was still reactive before? Two-pack, yeah. So it's the same thing. It's still reacting, it's still wet. If it's wet, it's still activating, it's still metal. What would happen if I just put it straight into the bin if it's still reacting? Could, but what else could it do? Remember, it's volatile, it's fumes. What could they do? It could set a light, yeah. Do you know what that's called when they set a light? Spontaneous. Spontaneous combustion, absolutely. So always leave your strippings on a piece of paper and then we'll dispose of them later on. Obviously, if it was you when you're on the job, you'd be disposing of them, but you won't be here tomorrow, so I'll get rid of them. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Right, is there any questions? Anything? One thing, when you have finished, make sure you wash these gloves. Wash them under the tap if you want. Wash your tools, okay? Because if you put them back, they're still contaminated, okay? And whoever's booking in at the stores doesn't want to get tools back with liquid paint remover on. All right, nice one.